Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is Karina from Paradigm Thrift. If you are new here, welcome. I am a full-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari, and eBay. Last week I put out a Q&A video and I answered a bunch of questions that you guys had about selling on consignment, like how to get started, what percentage I take, and all of that jazz. So I wanted to spend today's video going a little bit more in depth on how to create a consignment contract for your clients. It is really important to have a contract when you are offering consignment services to others, not only to protect yourself as a seller, but also to build trust and a relationship with your clients so that they can know what to expect during the whole process as well. So these are just things that I personally have in my own contract. You can go ahead and take this template however you'd like. You can add things to it, you can take things away from it. Just make sure that when you are constructing your own contract that you are personalizing it to fit the way that you want to run your business. So as you can see, I have my fancy little whiteboard here, and I thought I would go ahead and write out all of the different sections that I have in my contract. Make sure you guys check out my community tab where I'm going to have a picture with this template on it as well, so you guys can save it for your own reference when you are creating your own contract. So the first thing that I included in my contract was an introduction and overview. So I don't just use my contract as an agreement between a client, I also use it to explain to potential clients and new clients how the process works. I think showing them a contract kind of shows them how serious I am as a seller and all of the ways that both I and my client are protected in this exchange. So I like to introduce myself. I tell them what I do, what platforms I sell on, how long I've been selling for, and what kind of experience I have, so that they know that I am an expert in what I do and that they can trust that I am going to price their items correctly and be able to sell them for the amount that I say that they will. If it's somebody that I don't know, if it's like a stranger that just happened to see one of my flyers or see one of my posts about consignment services, this is what is going to help sell them on consigning with me. When I'm selling to my friends and family, they typically already know what I do and are more familiar with me, so I don't have to do this whole explanation. But I think having an introduction in your contract helps guide your newer clients to begin to trust you. I also like to include an overview where I just talk very briefly about what consigning is. So I will be selling their items on all of the online platforms that I sell on, and they will be receiving a percentage of the sales in cash. I also like to add in the overview the ways that consigning can be beneficial for my client. Not only are they getting extra cash, but they're able to clean out their closet and save time, so they won't have to be selling the things on their own. Plus, since I do have a bigger following and I have more experience in reselling, I can typically make more money than they would if they were to just sell it out of their own Poshmark closet. In the introduction and overview, I also lay out that the following sections are going to be agreements, and they should either sign or check mark next to each thing so that they understand exactly what the process is. I also like to say if they have any questions that they can reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to clarify anything if they have any concerns about any of the points I make in the contract. So the next section that I like to add is my inventory expectations. So in the inventory expectation sections, I talk about how we will be meeting up to trade the inventory. I can either pick up the inventory, we can meet up, or they can drop it off at my office. And I like to mention that I would prefer that the items are pre-washed, that they don't have any flaws on them, and that they are in sellable condition. I also referred them to a FAQ page that I have on my website where I list out the brands that I like to accept and the brands that I don't accept. I'm pretty much open to everything, but I don't accept any fast fashion brands like Shein or Fashion Nova or Forever 21 or anything like that. So I just have that clear on my website. If you guys don't have a website that you can direct your clients to, you can also print out a accepted brands page to hand them with the contract as well. I showed this in my Q&A video, but I also printed out a bunch of these flyers that I will share right here, and they have some of my accepted brands so that my potential clients can get kind of a feel for what kind of inventory I'm looking for. But I think it's really important to share the expectations that you have for the type of inventory that you want. For example, if you are somebody who only wants to focus on luxury, you should make that very clear so that people aren't bringing you lower tier items. I think at the end of the day, that will kind of just waste both of your guys' time. So I think being straightforward and open about the brands that you want to sell up front is crucial. The next thing that I like to include are my pricing and listing methods. So I like to add what platforms I sell on in this section. You can even include the percentages that each platform takes so that your customers are aware. I don't personally include the platform fees in my contract. However, when I accept inventory from a client, I provide them with a spreadsheet that shows my listed price and when an item sells, how much the platform that it sold on took from that transaction, just so they are aware of all of the fees that go into selling. In this section, you can also share how you plan to price, whether you are looking up comps, you're going off market value. If you sell in a brick and mortar store, you can talk about your pricing strategies or anything like that, just to clarify with your customer your method on pricing. I know that there are some customers who can be a little bit particular about how much they want their items to sell for. This is where you can explain to them your whole pricing strategy so that they don't have any confusion. In this section, I also talk about specific time frames for how long an item will be listed on a platform and how selling on different platforms works. For example, on Poshmark, you have to do a lot of price drops and offers to likers, sharing closets, and things like that. There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that your clients may not be aware of. So I think it's very important to clarify that in the contract so that they aren't confused when you do accept an offer and it's not for the original selling price that you had mentioned. Be very clear about time frames. For example, on Poshmark, when you receive an offer, it is out there for 24 hours before it expires. So you need to let your client know that they need to be very prompt on answering you when you ask about certain prices, because they may miss out on an opportunity to get their items sold. And in the last section of my contract is where I talk about payment methods. This is probably going to look different for different consigners. I like to pay out my customers bi-monthly, so I pay them on the 1st and the 15th, and I choose to pay them out through PayPal or Apple Pay for people that I'm a little bit more familiar with. But typically I like using PayPal a little bit more because I can send out invoices and keep track of how much each client is getting, just for tax purposes and just to keep in my records. Some people I know send checks or even give cash to their clients. It all just depends on what you are comfortable with and what your client is comfortable with. You can also choose to offer a trade-in option for your clients. They can use the balance that they have from selling with you to buy new items in your closet. I like to add that in my contract just so that they know that that is a possibility. And if they do see something that I share on Instagram, or if they are shopping through my Poshmark closet, then they know that they can buy it with their credit, and I'll typically give them like a discount. I won't really sell it to them for the listed price that I have, especially because of platform fees and everything. But that is an option that you can include in your contract as well. So these are the 4 sections that I like to have in my contract. I also like to close it out at the end and remind my client that they can reach out to me if they have any questions throughout the process. They can look at the different platforms that I'm selling on and see how their items are doing, and really just try to build more of that trust with my client. A contract isn't only in place to keep your client accountable, it is also there to keep you accountable as the seller. I've noticed when a lot of people talk about consignment on Facebook groups or on social media in general, they're more concerned about covering their asses when dealing with a problematic client. But you need to remember that you are the one that is offering the service for your client. Yes, you are both benefiting from the transaction, but you have to remember that these people are essentially handing over their property so that you can sell it for them, and you are liable if anything does happen while it's in your possession. Also, if you are over promising and you're not delivering on the things that you said you would, this contract can protect the client in case anything goes downhill. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful. Constructing a consignment contract for me was one of the more difficult parts of starting this whole process because I just wasn't really sure what to include. I did take a look at some other resellers' contracts just to get some ideas. I also searched online for different closet clearouts and closet consignment services that I could find to see what their contracts look like. I also borrowed a little bit from like Buffalo Exchange and Plato's Closet because those are more familiar services that I think people have experience with. So I tried to lean a little bit on that just so that my clients would know what to expect when working with me. But if you guys have any other questions about consignment in general, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to make any more videos clarifying any parts of the process for you. But if you guys haven't already, please hit that red subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye!